We're going to talk now. These next few questions are going to be focused on copying spells specifically. So while they're still on the stack, we're going to copy some spells.
Oh yeah, we've been copying a lot of permanents, haven't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So we're going to cast Lava Spike. So Lava Spike is a sorcery and it's arcane, which on its own doesn't necessarily mean anything, but we're looking back, going back to original Kamigawa, because apparently they like to do weird things in the original Kamigawa block. And we're going to, as we are casting Lava Spike, we are going to splice onto it Desperate Ritual. So if you're not familiar, the way Splice onto Arcane works is it's an ability that appears on instants and sorceries, and it basically means as you are casting an arcane spell, you can reveal a card with Splice onto Arcane from your hand and pay its splice cost. So for Desperate Ritual, it's that 1 in a red. So as you're casting Lava Spike, you can reveal Desperate Ritual from your hand and pay 1 in a red to splice the effects of Desperate Ritual onto the arcane spell that you're casting. So when Lava Spike gets onto the stack, this is what it looks like. It has its original text of deal 3 damage to target player or planeswalker, and it also has the spliced text from Desperate Ritual to add 3 red mana. Right? So this is what Lava Spike looks like now that it has been cast and is on the stack. You hold priority to cast Reverberate, which is an instant that copies an instant or sorcery and allows you to choose new targets for the copy.
We have someone asking, is Splice a text changing effect?
I think it might qualify as a text changing. I would have to look into that to be sure, because it does look like it meets the requirements of that. But I would have to look into that specifically to have a good answer for you.
Also, thank you, Dr. Unks, for the follow.
Yeah. So, my question for you is, and we can start a poll for this one. After we make this copy of Lava Spike with Reverberate, what are the characteristics of the copy of Lava Spike? So option A is a regular old Lava Spike, and then option B is a Lava Spike with Desperate Rituals text spliced onto it. So the question we're asking is splice or no splice?
Oh, you said yins, Dr. Unks. That must mean one thing. All right, I haven't started the poll yet. Give me a second.
Okay, I am.
I looked. So 702.47c. I was looking at Splice just now. So that was what I was doing where I was not paying attention. This is example 11.
Yes. Yeah, I am looking to see if the comprehensive rules specify splice as a text changing effect.
All right, I started the poll for the splice. Feel free to put your answers in, friends. And Dr. Unks, we have several things going for us in this life, but sucking less than the buckos is probably one of the ones I'm most proud of.
So in case, because I know, Steph, you said you were looking at the rules. Yeah, 702.47c does say this is a text changing effect.
Get those answers in, friends.
Yep.
Have a little bit of dissension in the ranks this time.
We love this.
Okay, we have 3 votes for B and 1 vote for A.
All right. Well, the 3 of you that voted B are correct. So the fact that this is a text changing effect is potentially a little misleading, which is kind of why part of the reason why I wasn't familiar with whether or not that was the case, but also why I didn't necessarily want to bring it up. Because normally, a text changing effect would apply in layer 4, I think, is when that layer applies, and so it wouldn't meet the definition of being copyable. But if you think back to when we were talking about copyable effects, and we were talking about it's copyable values, we were looking at the copyable values of a spell. The decision to splice is copyable. So because you made the choice when you were casting Lava Spike to splice a spell onto it, that decision that you made to do that is stored as copyable information. So the copy will see the added spliced
and
text.
that's layer 1, right?
I actually don't know that it is necessarily a layers thing, as much as it is like it.
That's right.
I'm thinking of this as it alters the what's printed on the card version, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, effects that modify copyable values is
yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Okay. So, correct answer, B. Copy or splice spells. It's fun. Next question. So you cast Mythos of Brokos. So now the text on this is kind of small, so I will highlight to you what I think is the important bits. So Mythos of Brokos is a sorcery that can be cast for 2 green. And in its rules text, it says, if you spent a blue and black mana while you were casting the spell, you get some additional benefit. In this case, you can search your library for a card to put into your graveyard. And then the effects of Mythos of Brokos lets you return 2 permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. So in this example, you have cast Mythos of Brokos using blue and black mana plus the 2 green to cover the casting cost. So this Mythos of Brokos does meet the requirements to get this special little extra benefit. But with this Mythos of Brokos on the stack, you cast Reverberate to create a copy of Mythos of Brokos. So my question to you is, and I guess we can do a poll for this one. That sounds fun.
Okay.
Does the copy of Mythos of Brokos let you search your library for a card to put in your graveyard? Do you get the special little benefit? Does the copy give you the special little benefit for paying specific colors of mana? You can just
all right.
Yes or no.
Copy of Mythos of Brokos let you search. We have a poll going. Feel free to answer yes or no. Some dissension in the ranks.
We love it. So something I did notice about the art on Mythos of Brokos, and I kind of, because there's a whole cycle of those like Mythos of whatevers for my Ikoria. Something I didn't notice on the art until I was doing this presentation is in the art, the guy that's kneeling has the 2 little sparkly balls or whatever, and one of them is black and one of them is blue. So I kind of want to go back and look at the other ones to see if they also do if the art also has that little detail.
You say I want to say yes based on my understanding of copy and kicked spells, which makes me wonder how this works with cleave.
Yeah, I can answer that after we get the. I don't want to mess up the poll results.
All right, we have 4 votes for no and 2 votes for yes.
Okay, a good split there. So the correct answer here is no. So the copy of the spell was not cast; it was just copied while it was on the stack. So no mana could have been spent to cast it, and the types of mana spent to cast a spell is not stored as copyable values. Now, if you're thinking about like the question with kicker or cleave, those are additional or alternate casting costs, and the choice to cast a spell for an alternate casting cost or with an additional casting cost is stored as copyable. So like when you copy a kicked spell, the copy would also be kicked. Or when you copy a spell cast for its cleave cost, the cost would also recognize that it's being cast for its cleave cost. But in this case, specifically, the types of mana that you spent to cast a spell is not stored as copyable information. And since the copy wasn't cast, the copy has no frame of reference for what mana was spent, what types of mana was spent to cast it.
We have some aha moments happening.
All right. This is our last one of the stream. And this is our last example of the stream. I really appreciate you all sticking out. We're in the final stretch. So after this, after this question, we'll have one more boosty break, and then we'll have a time for Q&A if you have some final questions you want to ask.
Yeah, and Brad will have chat pulled up for that one at the end there too, so he'll be able to read your questions live. And so if you have anything that you want to ask after the whole presentation is over, feel free. We'll hang around for a few minutes and get answer your questions for you. But yeah, we'll do the last example, we'll do a boosty break, and then we'll go to Q&A. Thanks for being here, y'all. This has been really fun.
I'm having a blast. I really appreciate y'all hanging out. All right, so this one, some of you who I may have talked to a bit before the presentation might know where this one's going. But in this example, we have our best friend Runeclaw Bear back in action. And joining him is Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief. So this is a creature that has a triggered ability that says whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. So when you cast like an instant or a sorcery that targets, say, the Runeclaw Bear, Ivy goes, "I'll take one too, please," and makes a copy for herself. So in this example, though, we are casting a Dreamtail Heron, and we're casting it for its mutate cost. So if you think back to the time when we were messing around with Sea Dasher Octopus, mutate represents an alternate casting cost. When you cast a creature for its mutate cost, it merges with a creature you have in play. So in this case, you are casting Dreamtail Heron and trying to mutate it onto the Runeclaw Bear. So my first question, so there are several questions associated with this one. This first one, you can just type yes or no in the chat. When you cast the Dreamtail Heron for its mutate cost, does Ivy make a copy of the Dreamtail Heron?
We have some yeses in chat.
Nice. All right.
All right, some yeses in chat, I see.
Yeah. So that is correct. And this is if you have maybe an Ivy EDH deck, it might even be built around this mechanic.
We do have some people in chat saying I have an Ivy EDH deck, and thus I know.
So yes, so the Dreamtail Heron is a spell that targets only a single creature that isn't Ivy. So Ivy will see the Dreamtail Heron being cast and will say, "I would like to make a copy of that, please." So my second question, and this is another one we can just yes or no it in the chat if you want. Will the copy of Dreamtail Heron be able to mutate onto Ivy when it resolves?
So you can just put yes or no in chat here for that, friends.
Yep.
All right, we've got some yeses in chat here.
All right. Yeah. This is another one. This is, I think, a logical extension. Especially if you're playing the Ivy mutate deck. The copy of Dreamtail Heron can be mutated onto Ivy and will modify Ivy with the relevant abilities from Dreamtail Heron. So my third question, and this is one that if you know the answer or would like to take a stab, you can just type how you think it works in the chat, because this one's a little weird. But this was one I didn't actually know the answer to until I was putting this presentation together, it was just very interesting to me. So my third question for you is, we know that copies of permanent spells, when they resolve, they become tokens. But what does this mean for Ivy, right? If we are merging a token Dreamtail Heron onto a non-token Ivy, what is Ivy a token now, or is Dreamtail Heron suddenly not a token anymore? I'm curious to hear what you think. So if you want to take a stab at it, feel free to type your answer in chat and just let us know.
Yeah. So we have frogness. Now we have tokenness.
Yeah, tokenness.
There you go.
Just pick any characteristic you want and add ness on the end. It's just fine.
Oh, we have a question. Does it depend whether you choose top or bottom? We have a couple people asking that question.
Yeah, that's a good question to ask. It does. It 100% depends on if you choose top or bottom.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a trick question for y'all, but you picked up on it.
Yeah.
You got it.
So in cases with merged permanents, which again is what mutate is, um, the whole mutate stack is considered a token only if the topmost object in the stack is itself a token. So in this example, if you want to put Ivy, if you want to mutate Dreamtail Heron on top of Ivy, then this now Ivy Dreamtail Heron mutate monstrosity is considered a token. Whereas if you put the Dreamtail Heron on the bottom and the top is just regular old Ivy, then the permanent will not be a token.
Natalie says, "What? My brain."
Yeah. Like I put the first two questions in here as I was like doing it, and then I was like, oh wait, but that Dreamtail Heron is supposed to be a token, isn't it? Gosh, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And so I looked it up, and it was just, again, I feel like there are some effects that care about tokens or non-tokens.
Yeah, Benji was saying it's very relevant for perplexing test players.
Yeah, or like if you have populate stuff, that would be fun. Of course, oh yeah, and I guess if you mutate the Dreamtail Heron on top of Ivy, it wouldn't be legendary anymore. That's wild. Wow, it might be time to build an Ivy deck, chat.
There you go.
Whoa. Okay.
And now, chat, you have all of the tools you need to build an Ivy deck successfully.
It's true. Yeah. There aren't a whole lot of effects that are just green that do populate. There's some fun ones.